Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Cody the Coin Raptor, and in today's video, I want to go ahead and talk to you guys about Bitcoin miners, and specifically what miners have been doing, the health of miners, and if they're selling or not. Okay, so we've seen recently in a pretty dramatic price drop in Bitcoin, and I'm gonna go ahead and go through some important metrics that we're gonna go ahead and shed some more information and knowledge on the state of the Bitcoin mining community. So first off, we have the Bitcoin hash rate. So the hash rate is kind of like a number that gives you an idea of the total hashes in Bitcoin as part of the Bitcoin blockchain. So the hash rate tends to increase over time as demand for Bitcoin goes up, and a high hash rate would mean that you have more miners currently working to solve the Bitcoin algorithm. Okay, so if we actually zoom out and we take a look at the chart here for Bitcoin hash rate, this is looking to Bitcoin, you can see that the hash rate, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the price. The hash rate has gone completely up. It's been parabolic, right? But if we zoom in and we take a look at what's happened recently, it's really important to point out here that the hash rate is still basically at an all-time high. Okay, this latest drop in the Bitcoin price that we've seen here, I'm going to put this back in here, has not really affected the hash rate much yet. Okay, so what you would tend to see is that when the hash rate goes down, it means that miners are being taken out of the market. See, like, for instance, you have the huge drop here in 2021. This had to deal with the Chinese banning Bitcoin mining. All right. But if we look at what's happened recently, we're still seeing that it's an all-time high, which means that there are still tons and tons of miners on the network that are mining Bitcoin. So this very first metric has shown us that it hasn't yet, the drop in Bitcoin prices hasn't yet caused miners to flee or miners to shut off their rigs and stop mining. Now, if we also go ahead and take a look at the network difficulty indicator. So the reason why we have the network difficulty indicator is because this will give you an idea of how difficult it is to actually mine those blocks. So as the network difficulty increases, it basically takes more energy, it takes more hashes in order to mine the next block. So as we can see here, the network difficulty has done nothing but increase over time. All right, and that tends to go up with the hash rate as well. And the network difficulty right now is still at an all-time high, just like the hash rate. Okay, so that gives us a good idea of, when you take a look at the hash rate and the network difficulty, that you have increased costs for miners in order to mine that next block. And in fact, if we actually take a look at the miners' revenue, we can see that miners' revenue has been going down dramatically. Okay, this is miners' revenue on blockchain.com. You can take a look at this, and you also take a look at the network difficulty as well on blockchain.com. Definitely recommend it. But you can see here that if we zoom out, we take a look at the big picture here, we can see that it's been pretty low for miners' revenue. Miners have had a really hard time lately, and it doesn't seem to really be getting any better. I'm going to zoom in here a little bit. We're going to see here the big drop off of about November, that huge November drop that we had here all the way over here. And we can see miners' revenue just plunging dramatically. And what's going on here is I have the seven-day average on. If you just go to the one-day average, you can see it's just a little bit different. But the plunge we see here is also related, right, to the Bitcoin price, because the Bitcoin price goes down, the miners' revenue also goes down as well. And also, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys another really important metric, and that's the Puell Multiple. Puell Multiple, as I've mentioned a couple times on this channel, is an idea. It gives you an idea of how profitable miners are. And when it comes into this green zone, this line that kind of separates this white area from the green area, that's kind of like your break even type of line. And below this green zone, it means that they're having significantly under the normal revenue that they would have. So if we zoom out here and we can take a look at here, we can actually see areas of extreme distress in the previous bear markets. Now, if we zoom in here a little bit, we can take a look at the fact that this is just barely touching this green bit, and it's actually popping out of it. Now, that means that the miners recently, when we had that big drop, were having a problem with their profitability, but now it's eased up just a little bit, but it seems like it's going to go back down again. I will be monitoring this as much as I can to kind of give you an idea of the profitability, but it seems like right now they're on an absolute razor's edge when it comes to revenues and when it comes to profitability. It is so close, and we can wind up seeing these metrics shift as time goes on. Usually after a big drop in the Bitcoin price, you normally wouldn't see a huge ripple in the mining community right away. Usually it takes a couple of weeks at least to play out, and then you'll wind up seeing miners getting taken offline. You'll see the hash rate come down, and then you'll also see the difficulty come down as well. Okay, the last thing I want to show you is the Bitcoin miners reserve. And as we can see here, there was a pretty huge drop off as soon as we had that huge run down in the actual price. I'm going to go ahead and put the price in here, but you can see the reserve dips when the price dips. And so that to me tells me that miners were selling heavily into that big capitulation event that we had last week, because they line up nearly perfectly here. So it's come down significantly. And in fact, if we take a look at the yearly, zoom out here a little bit, we can see that it hasn't been at this level. This miner reserve hasn't been at this level since January of 2022. So in the bull market, right? So the simple fact here is that they are selling. They sold that capitulation event extremely hard, and I think miners are going to be under increased stress as the price goes down. And as the price continues down further, miners are going to sell, and they're going to add more pressure, more selling pressure to the Bitcoin price, just as we've seen right here, just as we've seen back in June. They had a little bit of a collapse right here in the actual miners reserve as miners were unloading their coins, and as they mine, they become less and less profitable as the Bitcoin price drops. So that's what I think was going to happen with the miners. Now, I don't expect that this will last forever, because eventually you'll wind up getting new miners online that'll be more efficient. They'll be able to take advantage of the lower Bitcoin prices, and they won't be squeezed quite so much into selling like we've seen in the past couple of months, past couple of quarters or so, in which we've seen pretty huge capitulation events happening for the Bitcoin price. All right, so that's all I've got for you guys today. If you like this content, let me know, like, subscribe, and also go ahead and leave a comment. I would greatly appreciate that, and follow me on Twitter for the most up-to-date information. This is Cody the Coin Raptor, and I will catch you guys on the next video.